everyone. Today we're meeting for another installment of Who is Afraid of the Kingma System Flute. And today I have another great guest artist. I have Matthias Ziegler here, all the way from, where are you living currently?
I'm living outside of Zurich. I'm teaching in Zurich, and this is where.
Great.
Okay.
Cool. So another Kingma System player, that I like to talk about is him and what he's done. And let's just hear what you have to say. I think the more I do these interviews, the more informal they get, because then I always get the more interesting information out of them. So tell us how you got started, I guess, in Kingma System.
Well, I have a long time collaboration with Eva Kingma. I think it's more than 20 years.
Wow.
That we are collaborating. It all started that I was interested in buying an alto flute, and I came across the Kingma alto flute, and I really liked the sound, so I got in touch with her, and I got that alto flute. So it was one after the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew of the Kingma System project, and of course we had discussions. And then I had the first prototype of Bigford Brannan, what he made. I had this, in my hands at a flute convention, and they were asking me, about the ergonomics, how do I feel to reach out to the additional notes. And I immediately felt like this instrument is giving me new possibilities.
Yeah.
So of course I wanted to have one.
Mm-hmm.
And so took a while, and then I got the Austin Brannan Kingma System flute.
Wow.
And I'm still playing this. I'm still playing this for improvised music and composed music.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
What's so interesting is developing. It's almost like I've seen two generations now of Kingma System players, kind of. I'm kind of the new generation, and it seems like we have a lot of people in the slightly older generation that play it, but I'd really like to see more people my age. Do you have any ideas for how people, I guess, my age could get involved besides just buying a Kingma like what I did?
Well, that's buying a Kingma is a good start, because you just kind of go ahead and say, I want to explore this, and which is fantastic if you do it this way.
Yeah.
We have a Kingma at our university, a Brannan Kingma, which I show to my students,
Yeah.
And some of them are interested, and they, really want to check it out, and some of them, just, you can tell, they just want to go the traditional way.
Yeah.
So it's a question of how creative people are. If they have to see the possibilities, because everybody has to understand that the Kingma System flute only adds possibilities. It doesn't take anything away. You play this flute, you've experienced this, you play this flute like a normal flute, and then step by step you reach out to the new possibilities. So this has been for me the most interesting concept of playing the Kingma System flute, that I thought it's a creative motor, So you play this, and then you reach out to different possibilities with intonation, different possibilities with tone colors, different possibilities with multiphonics, you name it. It's like, and different ideas improvising. So when I got to know the Kingma System flute, I did a lot of studio work at that time.
Okay.
And I used to play Chinese bamboo flutes. I used to play Indian flutes for recording sessions, and then I felt with this flute all the special colors, all the Oriental scales. Wissam, he is he he's the expert on that one. Is I did a lot of Iranian music at some time of my career. Um, it's fantastic. It's fascinating. You can really translate that music to the Western system without copying on an original flute. That's a real nice process. Translation.
Mm-hmm.
So I was immediately finding my way around, also improvising. You can see how if you improvised, how people react to different tonalities you can create.
Mm-hmm.
So that was for me a whole field that opened, you know.
Yeah. You know, that was kind of how it was for me, just having this new field of things. I have a Kingma and I have a glissando head joint, and I can just go to town and get both of them together and do all kinds of stuff. And then I put my other flute in my hands that doesn't have Kingma, and I feel limited. I'm like, my buttons are gone, my favorite buttons. I can't just reach over and grab a key. And I think if everyone learned Kingma, maybe not younger per se, but earlier in their music careers, they would feel more comfortable with it if they took the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's not, from the price, it's not a student flute. So one of the ideas was to make a flute which is slightly less expensive.
Yes.
I mean, you don't get a big series with that kind of flute. You have to do the whole cast of the key work. If somebody builds a Kingma system flute, it's really a big investment.
Absolutely.
But we try to get the price down, that it's also within the possibilities maybe of a good student instrument.
Yeah.
That will probably give more of a breakthrough. It's still in a high price handmade segment, and like a handmade silver flute. And so maybe we are right now talking about possibilities of simplifying even. This has to be the last step of simplifying the system a bit, which would make it cheaper to produce.
Okay.
And at the same time, with the different players we have, they could now give their input and with the experience they made. And I'm sure we could come up with a great solution for one step ahead, you know.
Yeah. That's interesting. You know, I was talking about that with Wissam earlier, about just trying to make it simpler, and it would be a matter, I guess, for me off the top of my head, of thinking about changing the rods, because we just have all these extra keys and rods to deal with. And I guess simplifying that, but I think it could definitely be doable once, you know.
Yes, I mean the big issue is space. You know, it's easier on an alto flute. It's easier on the bass flute. But as you know, for my very first, this has been my very first Kingma system flute.
Okay.
I immediately had the B lever.
Yeah.
Here.
I
have two of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not using one of them for the B flat, because I'm not using that long B.
Yeah.
Never in tradition, not even in traditional playing.
Yeah.
But the upper one is C up.
Okay.
C up, and the next one is C sharp up.
Oh.
It's always the same movement, you know. It's like, if I want a C quarter tone up, I push this. If I want a C sharp quarter tone, I push the key next to it. So, I mean, but you don't have a B lever there, you know. So, or A sharp, you would probably use it. This is something which Bickford made especially for me. I don't know who else has that flute, but that showed me that there's still ways to individually develop the flute, and I'm sure the flute can adapt it to every single player for every single player's needs.
Wow, I'm still blown away that you have, because that's where like my C sharp trill key is.
Yeah.
And, you know, the B flat lever. It's very interesting that's, because I just automatically assumed that's what those were, and those weren't at all. So do you not have the cluster in the left hand in the back?
I do have it,
okay.
And I think that's a masterpiece of design.
Oh, yeah.
That Bickford did. I mean, with this, I immediately felt comfortable. When he came up with this, I felt like, wow, this is like that. For my thumb, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, that's really, and of course we, you know, with the C up, we get the C sharp trill here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the C up for me, and it's the same lever, and the C. The C sharp up. No, that's the C sharp. Sorry. Yeah, the lower one. The lower one is the C up, and then here's C sharp up, which is the C sharp trill at the same time. So, those are things, you know. You take that instrument, you feel like, it's an interesting idea. Couldn't it be that way? And then immediately you get the discussions, and I saw, you know, if you see different players like Wissam, Robert, and myself, for example, then we all use that flute for different music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with me, it was I played with Collegium Novum Zurich, a contemporary music group. And we had microtonal pieces, but of course they were not. I had to use a mix of the Kingma system flute, but some passages go old-fashioned way, pull out the flute a quarter tone, and then play the passage, you know,
wow.
And maybe use the Kingma system to play the note which is not. Put it on apart, you know?
Whoa.
So I ended up playing passages like this. I mean, this is only one aspect of the flute.
Yeah.
And it's not the most important, you know? It's not. The most important is probably colors, special colors, and multiphonics. And for example, one thing I immediately used the Kingma system, the F sharp up. I used in the Berio sequenza where you have that F sharp which has 5 piano, pianissimo. I finger it F sharp quarter tone up and go very close to the edge and get the most beautiful pianissimo note. And I mean, this is the point where it's getting creative. You know, when you ask yourself, what new possibilities of extreme interpretation can I get with that flute?
Yeah.
So, you know, and of course composers are influenced by this. They know that they have more possibilities, and if they want, they can do some you know, add something new.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Just like I was talking with Wissam when you were talking about that F sharp. Wissam likes to play harmonics with quarter tone fingerings and use that to approach some of these tone colors, and it just, you know, he made some really beautiful sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, if you say I want a special colors, you roll in the flute, and then at the same time you roll in the flute, and at the same time you finger quarter tone up.
Yeah.
And you get that atmosphere of harmonic.
Yeah.
So, you know, all those things.
Do you like to use your Kingma in any similar contexts on non-Kingma system kind of repertoire? Or is it just all kind of all over the place and you don't think about it anymore?
I played all the work in the contemporary music group I played for 20 years.
Okay.
I did on the Kingma, the last 15 years, I played it on the Kingma system flute. And it felt totally comfortable, you know. Absolutely Like I had no idea, and it was not that I touched by chance the wrong key or something like this. I didn't even think of having a different flute in my fingers, you know. So that's and then for the earlier repertoire, of course, I like to use my Louis Lot. So this is the other extreme,
Yeah. That's cool. I like all this. I wanted to also talk about the Gralu Flute Festival, and I thought it'd be good to talk about this because it's an emerging, almost Kingma system magnet flute festival. Hello.
Okay, sorry, we got the problem with the internet. You were asking a question about Grollo. You want to go from there again? Or?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about Gralu as kind of our other thing because I think this is a really exciting opportunity for people looking to know more about the Kingma system flute, just considering it's in Eva Kingma's village. You're going to be there, Wissam's going to be there, just all of these amazing people for that. So do you think that there's a future for that as a Kingma magnet kind of class?
Well, there was the idea of getting the flute making and the flute playing closer together.
Yeah.
That the young people see where these instruments come from. They also spend an afternoon in the workshop of Eva Kingma. While we are there, we meet at. They see the flute maker. She participates in the discussions about the flutes. So they get a different aspect of the flute and also appreciation of what's behind the flute making. They don't just buy it from the shelf and start playing it. And that might be a creative input that might lead some people into the direction of trying to develop an instrument which of course is highly developed, but you can always go ahead and push the just push the limits.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, I felt like Grollo is such a small place, and it's in it's total countryside. Cows, which are nice, nice company, and one restaurant in the village which is cooking for everybody. People are living with some of the people are living with on private places where people from Grollo who are very interested in that initiative because Eva spread the word that there will be a lot of flute playing around, so they come to the concerts.
Oh wow!
Like this at the end of the master class, we had 3 concerts in the church, and they were all full, sold out with 120 to 140 people each concert. And people were there from the village, and they enjoyed this. So you don't only perform to your peer group of crazy flute players, but it's the real thing. You share this with people. And this place Grollo has some special energy. I mean, they're now putting up a huge blues festival with 10,000 visitors.
Wow.
The guy who makes the small pieces, the posts for Eva's flute, he was a sidecar racer moto motorcycle sidecar.
Wow.
World champion.
Wow.
So this is like, you get things that you would never think that can come together.
Yeah.
And this is the spirit of Chrollo, which I thought, if we do a class here, that might influence everybody.
Yeah. Oh, so it was kind of your idea to host it at that city?
I was there several times working together with Eva.
Yeah.
And I talked to her and her husband, Luc, who is very much involved in the same, in this activity.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I just somehow, I don't know, I somehow think this place could be perfect for such an initiative.
Yeah, yeah.
And they picked up this idea, and we developed it, and at the same time I felt that collaboration with Ian and Wissam, I really appreciate it. We are all the three have a different aspect of flute playing, but we have a very big common field that we can teach, and now we developed especially one particular thing, which is the video class, which will be there.
Yeah.
Where we analyzing, where we discuss amongst participants what happened, and it's just it's so relaxed and everybody's so positive. So we had last year people keep coming back when they've been there once. So that's the best that's the best thing that can happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was nice, and it's for me it's the same thing. Like building flutes and playing flutes, they both need that creative input.
And that's
so
interesting. I like that there's been such a strong, the Kingma community is strong and mighty. It's like we have maybe not a lot of numbers, but I think everybody who plays a Kingma system flute just has this passion for developing the instrument. And I respect it. And I think that's one reason I got involved in these interviews, was because everybody was so passionate, and you've all had such wonderful things to say about the instrument and how it works, how you got involved, and just you think beyond just the instrument being in your hands and putting your flute to your face. You're thinking about all this other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so too. That it's, I mean, all the players, Wissam, Robert, and myself, that you've talked to, we all have that. You name it. I mean, that passion for what we do.
Yeah.
And it's very clear for all of us that if a new thing is out like this flute, we go for it.
Yeah.
We want to make steps and not.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You can't force people to go ahead, but you can do what you do. Kind of spread the word and share those ideas and that enthusiasm. That's a very good initiative.
Yeah. Okay, so before we go, is there anything else you'd like to tell us? Is that on the spot?
No, it's, for me, it's that whole time of development and collaboration with Eva Kingma, development of the Kingma system flute, was so beautiful, to share with Bigford, who has a craftsmanship which is unbelievable, and is still actively participating.
Yeah.
With Eva, I mean, we had night sessions at her workshop, changing keys slightly, you can't imagine, and still having a good time, you know. And then on the other hand, composers who say, oh, this is a new sound, I want this to be involved in my composing. And so it's like instrument making, composing, it's going ahead like this. Or instrument making and improvising. And it has always been like this, When the Böhm flute was around, that opened the door for a whole series of flutes.
Oh, absolutely.
Unfortunately, a lot of it in the domain of saloon music.
Yeah.
And we had to wait until Claude Debussy came up with some music which makes the flute be a serious instrument.
Yeah, definitely.
And since Debussy, we've got some fantastic flute music.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's funny you mentioned the Debussy thing because I've heard that before about just how the flute wasn't very serious prior to around that time, and it's really a shame.
Yeah, he found the character. It would be great to have him as a composer for the Kingma system.
Yeah.
But then Grise, the composer at the end of the 20th century, who did some microtonal music, which is fantastic, which opens again new fields in music. So and which is flute related, and so I think it's. I believe in those landmarks and milestones, and we just have to recognize them.
Yeah, to recognize them, definitely that. We can't keep playing the same repertoire